Have you ever wanted to buy something from one of those Facebook ads but wasn't sure if it was a scam or not? Today, we're going to find out. As the name of this channel suggests, I really like tech. And although my main content is to do with 3D printing, I am partial to splurging on toys and gadgets, especially when they're presented to me in an easy-to-click Facebook ad. In this video, I'm going to show you just what happens when you give into temptation and you buy something from one of those dubious ads. The results were definitely interesting, and we're going to start with the Microscope.
I was browsing one day and I came across this ad. It's apparently what everyone's talking about. It was a portable microscope camera. It used USB, so it plugged into either your phone or your laptop, and it had incredible detail, 1000 times zoom. I could see the fine texture on many objects that I wouldn't be able to see with the naked eye. It worked on any platform and it came with warranties and guarantees. When I clicked the link to go through to the website, all of the details were there and everything seemed to match the video ad. This one was a sure thing, so I ordered it. And it cost me only $44.90 US shipped to Australia. When it arrived, it had everything that the ad claimed it would. This little card for testing out the zoom, a disc with software, and then the actual microscope camera. USB as promised, some sort of adjustable dial, probably for the LED brightness, a suction cap base with a swivel mount so I could point it at anything I wanted, protective cap, LEDs, lens inside, and a big focus zoom wheel. There's also a button to take snapshots as well. My first discovery was that the bundled software was rubbish. I didn't understand what any of the buttons were for, possibly measuring, but I could tell that the camera actually did work. See this big red thing in the middle of your view here? Well, guess what? That was a tiny speck of plastic from a 3D printer. Next up, I thought I'd try out the test card. It's about the size of a credit card, and as promised, it zoomed in really well. I worked out that I could use it as a USB camera through OBS, and that's how I've recorded with much better resolution. When I zoomed right in, everything was outstandingly detailed. My next test was this cicada wing. It too looked extremely cool under the microscope, yielding detail that you just can't see with the naked eye. Nature really can be fascinating. Next up, something a little bit more in line with what's usually on this channel. This 3D printed part looks quite interesting underneath the microscope. It's amazing to see just how small all of the layers are. I thought I'd match the ad and try it on the back of my hand, which looked just like it did in the ad, and then I thought I'd try something a little bit more useful by inspecting a homemade PCB that I had made and a dodgy solder joint. It turns out this thing was not a scam at all.
Well, this microscope matched the ad, and I would actually say it was useful, so we're off to a good start. The next opportunity didn't come up for a little while, but being a bit of a car nut, I just couldn't resist.
Check out this. This is the most insane remote control car you will ever see in your life. Look how stupidly fast it is, up to and over 100 miles per hour. It can do burnouts, it can corner really fast, and if you leave a watermelon in front of it, it's fast enough to burst right through it. This thing is invincible. I just had to order it. I shelled out $85 US, and that includes paying for the premium 3-cell LiPo battery model. The packaging didn't look too flash, but the car inside looked like it matched the ad until I saw the controller. My suspicions that this wasn't quite the real deal were confirmed when I looked underneath and there was no LiPo batteries, instead 4 AA's only. Optimistic, I turned it on and then I discovered that it was actually controlled by an accelerometer. To steer it left and right, you had to move the steering wheel in midair, which is a system I personally hate, but the up and down buttons seemed to accelerate the wheels as you would expect. Time to take this thing somewhere where I could test it safely.
So here I am on location to test this car, and that of course is because it's way too fast to be safe on any type of public street. So therefore I'm at this deserted car park that goes onto the local sports field, and it gives me a safe space to see how this thing goes. Now I'm planning to test how it lives up to all of the things shown in the video, so let's turn it on and see just how fast it is. So no doubt it seems to be struggling, probably because it's slightly uphill here. So what I'll do is I'll walk it up, turn it around, and run it full speed back down this hill. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that didn't seem to quite hit 100 miles an hour. But I'm not an expert at judging these things visually, and that's why I have this little GPS speedo, as well as this gaffer tape to attach it to the car. Now, I'm conscious with a vehicle this fast, it will ruin the aerodynamics, so hopefully it won't affect it too much. So I've strapped it to the back, and it's probably impossible to see, but it has synced to satellites. Also put in some new batteries to make sure there's nothing slowing this thing down at all. So we're ready to commence the test. "10 kilometers an hour. It seems pretty underwhelming so far, but I want to make sure I'm thorough and I test everything, which is why I went to the fruit store and I got this watermelon. Seems regulation size, seems pretty tough. I wonder if the car can pierce it and explode it in half with all of its speed built up. Okay, so I didn't really expect to receive a car capable of doing 100 miles per hour, but I did at least expect to get some sort of fast and capable RC car. I think the performance of this vehicle was best summed up by my dog with her facial expression when I was testing it out with her assistance. So we're at 1 win and 1 loss, and if I can get another win, that'll give me 2 out of 3, which ain't bad. Bring on the last purchase.
I'm no stranger to drones, and this one was special. It was completely waterproof. You can throw it in the water, it's strong enough to carry payloads to rescue people. This was going to be a drone the likes of which I had never used before. It was so robust, not only could it go on sand, but it could also dip underwater with the camera still working. I'm sure you'll agree this was a steal at only $119 US. So what did I receive? Looks can be deceiving, but it just looked like a regular toy drone. When I opened the box, I was greeted with what still looked like a regular cheap toy drone. It had some spare props and prop guards, it had a holder for my phone to go on the controller. The controller itself seemed incredibly cheap and flimsy, and the drone was an obvious knockoff of a DJI Phantom, but once again incredibly light and flimsy. At least it turned on, that was a pretty good start. I found the camera in the box and attached it to the drone. It simply slides in place, no screws required, and then I plugged in the camera to the base. It didn't really seem that waterproof if I was honest. Manual adjustment, no gimbal present either. I snapped on the prop guards and then turned it underneath and snapped on the landing gear. I finally found the instructions underneath the box, and I immediately headed to the Google Play Store to install the free app that I would use to test this drone both in the air and underwater.
I'm back on location, this time with the drone, and I've got the battery fully charged on this, new batteries in the controller. I've put the app on my phone. Before I introduce it to water, I'm just going to make sure that it does in fact work as a drone should, and it flies and the camera works in all of that. So let's begin. Seems pretty easy to control so far. Seems to work as it should. That's flying with the controller, so I'm now going to open the app and connect the camera. I have wrestled control of the drone. Well, it's very slow to respond. Random inputs that I'm not expecting, but it is flying. The camera kind of works. Not exactly what you call high definition. The question is, will it work on water? Nothing but the best for teaching tech. On location number 2, this time at a local lagoon. It's actually really disgusting here. It's too polluted to go in the water. So hopefully this thing works as advertised and I can drop it in the water and then fly it away and stay dry myself. Okay, here goes. Gonna land it in this water. Now this is not a stunt or prank channel, and don't worry, it's never going to be. That was a genuine stuff up. I didn't prepare for it, I didn't really enjoy it, and yes, the car trip home was both interesting and smelly. Now I'm pretty sure that product actually does exist, but that's clearly not what I've been sent. I got scammed, and I guess the moral of the story is if something seems too good to be true, then it probably is a scam. Now another thing you can do to make sure is to Google the name of the company that's selling your product on the Facebook ad. Have you been scammed by one of these ads? If so, I'm sorry to hear, but I'd still love to read about it in the comments. That's going to wrap this one up before I go broke. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy online purchasing.
G'day, it's Michael again. If you liked the video, then please click like. If you want to see more content like this in future, click subscribe and make sure you click on the bell to receive every notification. If you really want to support the channel and see exclusive content, become a patron. Visit my Patreon page. See you next time.